We haven't cut the cake. We haven't cut the cake because it doesn't seem right to get rid of cake and go down and have your main course then. So if you want to take a bit of cake with you, you can take a bit of cake with you. But anyway, what's happening tonight is we're going down to the El Concello, table for 12.
Lovely.
I've already ordered a starter. You're going to have a couple of what I call garlic breads, a couple of potato wedges, a couple of bruschettas. After that, you can choose whatever you want from the main menu. Oh, go away, for God. She said I look like, was it Willie Farrell or something?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. I'm not Colin Farrell. I'm not Colin Farrell. Anyway, go down there, you choose what you want from the main menu, you choose what you want from the suite, you choose what you want from the bar. The bill has already been taken care of, you choose whatever you want. There'll be red wine, white wine, but if you don't want that, you want beers, you can have beers, you can have soft, well, 20 be drinking soft drinks, wine, anyway, choose what you want from the bar. If you don't like wine, you can choose beers or whatever you want. Anyway, main speech, that's what's happening tonight.
Right.
Down there, no speeches, no balloons, no happy birthdays, all the daft stuff is up here. We've had the balloons and things in this. So what I don't want down there is waiters bring a candle with a
Singing to you.
not singing to me, I don't want to upset all the other people in the restaurant. So it's just a table for 12.
Right.
Enjoy the food, choose what you want, drink what you want, enjoy the meal. Right.
Thank you.
Right, that's number one.
That's number one.
Right. Just before I start this big speech, which will take a long time. The first thing is, I was born on the same day as Michael Caine.
A lot of people know
The same day, not many people know that. And the same day, and right at this moment, he's celebrating his 90th birthday as well. And he's probably telling his guests what they don't know is that he shares the same birthday as Sid Reilly. Anyway, so cheers and happy birthday to Michael Caine. Anyway, one of the cards I got today was, or I think two cards were the same. It said, when you're 90, it's time to reflect on all the good days that have gone before. Now, I worked it out that the number of days I've gone before is over 33,000. So it's a lot to reflect on. The table is booked for 7:15. So
I hope your battery's fully charged.
So anyway, 33. What I've decided to do is to pick on 2 days. And that's, one is not important, it's just an everyday story of country folk living in Ireland. And the other one is life-changing. And that's more important because that explains why we're all here today and why you're all here today, because you wouldn't have been here otherwise if things had changed, if my life hadn't changed or living on life hadn't changed. So first of all, going back 8 years old, which is 1941. Now, nothing special about when I was 8 years old, it was just an ordinary day. And that's Sid Reilly, it was Sydney then, it was Sydney, living in Ireland on a farm, a thatched cottage. John's got it on photograph, he's got a photograph of it. Thatched, no gas, no electric, no water, no kitchen range, and the water had to be brought from the well, which is my job, bucket of water every morning. The heating or the lighting was candles or paraffin lamps, no electricity. And during the night, what you had was a chamber pot. No toilets. During the day, you went out to the byre or the stable. Oh, well, you might know this about stables and things. You don't still go there, do you, for the stables? But yeah, out in the field, out in the stables, if you went there during the night, it was chamber pots. Now, I'm not talking about poverty. It wasn't poverty. There was no electricity. There was no gas. There was no running water. There was no water, so we had no bathroom, no toilets, no nothing. And cooking and heating was a turf fire on the floor, because there's no kitchen range, and it had well, you might remember, a crook, big metal crook which swung over the fire, and you lifted your pots up and you lifted them down to make them hot, and you lifted them up and down. So that was cooking, and that was heating.
Still got one in the garden.
We have a couple of pots in the garden. Anyway, so that was the cooking, and my mother had come from a house in 70 detached in Wellbank Road in Washington to this, no gas, no electric. So that was me at 8. and going to school. Now, I've often told Janice I used to run 3 miles to school. It wasn't because I know now how long it takes me to walk 3 miles. I'm certain it didn't take me an hour to get to school. So it's probably more likely to be 2 miles. You and I one day will measure it. With our Garmin watches on. But yeah. Anyway, and the school was no different. The school had no gas, no electric, no water, no toilets, no nothing. It was one room.
Right.
And how many pupils were in the whole of the school? 30.
Right.
And the kiddies, the infants sat in the front. It wasn't desks, a straightforward bench with no back. That was the infants, then the 8, 9-year-olds, then the 11-year-olds, then the 12 to 14-year-olds in one room. That was the whole school. Robert's been to the school, he's seen the school. John's been to the school, he's seen the school. To make it into a private residence, they had to double the size of it or treble the size of it to make it fit football.
Yeah, but what you should tell them is what the name of the school was called.
No, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. Robert knows the name of the school. It was called Drum Brainless. Drum Brainless School. That was one. It was not. It wasn't brainless. It was brainless. Everything in Ireland is drum something because it means a valley or something. Anyway, that was a Drum Brainless School. 30 pupils, and also what it used to do was ran barefoot to school in the summer months. In the winter, I wore socks and shoes, but in the summer, and the reason to do that wasn't because I didn't have shoes. They were kept for mass on Sunday, and Cindy will know about going to mass on Sunday. You got to get dressed up. Anyway, I went barefoot to school, not because we didn't have it. It's because all the other kids went barefoot to school. And when you're kids, you don't want to be seen to be different to all the others because you'd be a big sissy wearing shoes and socks when everybody else is going barefoot. So went barefoot to school, 2 miles, not 3 miles. 2 miles. So that was it. The teacher there was a master in Birmingham who should have been prosecuted for child abuse because he was absolutely terrible. He should have been prosecuted. He should have, because terrible things he did anyway. Because he didn't rule with a cane, it was a stick. And you got your stick on the backs of your legs which wouldn't mark, or over your hands which didn't mark, and then absolutely awful. He was a beast of a man. Anyway, that was school. So that was a normal day. Before I went to school and ran 2 miles, not 3 miles, I had to milk 2 cows. I think we had 4 cows. My brother Vincent, God bless him, he used to milk the other 2. So we had to go and get the cows out the field, bring them in the byre, milk a couple of cows, and then get ready to go to school, 2 miles to school. And when you came back, you had to go out in the field to get the cows out the field again, into the byre, milk the 2 cows, and then go that. And then during the day, during the summer months, you'd have to bring the hay in and turn it. Anyway, so that's a typical day in the life of Sydney, aged 8. That was no. They were the happiest. They were lovely, happy days. I did a eulogy for my sister when she died, God bless her, in America, and I said, but I described all this, and all these Americans thought, gee, wow, you had no gas and you had no electricity. And I said, no, they were happy days, and they really were happy days. Like Robert, we had a greyhound, a ferret, we caught rabbits, we went in there. What else can you do when there's no electricity? Well, my parents had made babies, and we went there with 5 kids. We had 6 within a few there. What else can you do when it's dark? And it's like when you have electricity cut here, the birth goes up like that. So imagine in Ireland for 5 years or 6 years, no electricity, no
contraception.
Not if you're a Catholic.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
There was you were either Catholic or careless. There was no, you couldn't get I don't know why, but in Ireland it wasn't the government that ruled the country, it was the bishops. The Catholic Church ruled the country in Ireland. And the government did what they checked the bishop, could they bring in laws, but the Catholic Church, anyway, that was a day in the life of young Sydney at school. Right, fast forward. 60 years.
60
right?
years.
I'm now 68, not 60, not 8, I'm 68. Forget what's happened in between the 60 years, working for a living, doing all the things that you, forget all that. That's for my 95th birthday, I'll tell you all about my working. But then, advanced 60 years to what was then a life-changing moment. What it was, we built the house, I'd been retired 9-10 years. We built the house in Ireland because we decided to retire to Ireland. That's where my parents came from. We just toured Ireland with my brother from Canada. My brother said, I'm going to get away from the Canadian winters and I'm going to live in Ireland. So I thought, brilliant, we'll all retire to Ireland. That was the plan. I'd been retired 10 years. And I was told I was still working, Elaine was still working. So anyway, that was the plan. We'd been living there. I joined a golf club in Ireland. And in England, you couldn't join a golf club. There was a waiting list to go on the waiting list. There was no spaces. I used to play on a municipal course, which was absolute crap. And I went to Ireland and I thought, I can play on a proper golf course. The greens by comparison was magnificent. And I was a member, I could play golf Monday to Friday, nobody on the course. Saturday and Sunday competition, but I could play as much golf as I wanted instead of going on the municipal course. So anyway, joined the June the 7th, 2001, general election day. General election, Tony Blair had been Prime Minister for 4 years and he was standing for re-election. Now, on that particular day, we used to speak to each other. I spent like 3 or 4 months in Ireland and she was still working there, so we'd go backwards and forwards. I'd go backwards and forwards about 8 times a year. Come back to England just for sex, no, normally. and very occasionally, she'd come out to Ireland for the same reason.
Clean the house.
So anyway, that we were living there about 3 or 4 months
Clean the
ago.
house.
I was living I built the house 10 years earlier. So I was well established, playing unbelievable. It was fantastic golf to myself, as much golf as I wanted, instead of going on the rubbish old municipal course, on a proper golf course. So, June the 7th, 2001, general election day. We spoke to each other twice a day, morning and evening. And she said, look, I'm in charge of this polling station. I think the title was presiding officer. So she was presiding officer at this polling station. For the general, like from 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, till 9 at night, whatever it was. That was her day. So that's what she was going to be doing all day.
Yeah.
I was going to play golf. I'd arranged to play golf with my cousin Brian and my friend Pat McGonnell, who most of you know. Don't know, but you won't. Pat McGonnell. John knows him better than me. Anyway, that was my day, and I'd arranged to play with him at 3:30 because he was still working. My cousin Brian was still working, so met at 3:30. That was the plan. Spoke to Elaine. I won't be ringing at 7 o'clock tonight because I'm going to be seeing the lads for a game of golf. I'm going with
Well,
Brian.
I told you not to ring anyway.
And
It
she,
was a busy period.
because you spoiled my bloody speech again. Anyway, the plan was, don't ring me at 7, twice a day, morning and night we used to ring each other. Don't ring me at 7 o'clock because it's manic on a polling station, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, everyone's coming from work. So I said, no, hang on, I won't be home till 10.
Go on.
I'm with the lads for a game of golf at 3:30 and I'm having dinner and a few pints of Guinness. Then that was the plan. Now, when I say having something to eat, because I was living on my own over there, occasionally going backwards and forwards, 8 times a year going backwards and forwards, I thought what I normally had was what was known in Southern Ireland as a golfer's fry. In the north it's called a Ulster fry. When I say fry, it was fried sausages, fried bacon, fried eggs, fried black pudding, fried white pudding, probably a couple of hash browns, baked beans, chips, bread and butter, washed down with a pint of Guinness.
That's the cholesterol over the top.
If you're in a 4-ball in Ireland, you had to have 4 drinks because people would be offended if you didn't have a round of drink because they had one from you. They'd be most offended if you said, no, I don't want to drink. I actually once, I used to get, it was 4 pints, I had a 16-mile drive home and then you get under 5 pints and I thought, I'm going to drive. Anyway, there was one day when I came and I thought, what I need to do is get the bar first, have a pint of Diet Coke and then I'll try the Guinness. Anyway, I didn't get there first. Anyway, there was one day, you bought a drink, he bought a drink, he bought a drink. And I thought, it came to my, somebody came to me, well, pint of Guinness, Sid? I said, no, not for me, no, just a soft drink. He said, I'm sorry, Sid, I didn't know you had a problem. So, in Ireland, alcohol is a serious problem. And he immediately thought that because I was asking for a soft drink, I must have a serious drink problem. Yeah. I said, no, anyway, that was the plan. So, if you're in the 4-ball, it was 4 pints of Guinness. And if you're having something to eat, I had a golfer's fry, which I do. 4 pints of Guinness, a golfer's fry, and the whole thing was washed down with another pint of Guinness. And then I had to drive 16 miles home. In the days when you could drive 16 miles, well, some people could, I couldn't. And drive 16, that was, I suppose they'd probably call it an Irish salad. Anyway, so that was my day planned. I was going out with the lads, Pat McGoddle. Now, John knows what it's like going out with Pat McGoddle for an evening's drinking. It's for me, after 4 or 5 pints, you switch onto the shorts, in his case, it was brandy and port, wasn't it? Brandy and port. So he knows what it's like for an evening's drinking. Brandy and port.
Mixed.
Yeah, mixed. But he reckoned it was good for the digestive system.
Oh, did he?
He reckoned it was good because I don't really
It used to, yeah, he reckoned
after
it
4 or
killed
5 pints of
everything.
Guinness, it doesn't do you any good. He reckoned it did you good because it was good for the digestive system.
Tell him that they leave the bottle of port.
Oh yeah, but he gets a bottle of brandy and they leave a bottle of port there so you can pour as much port in as you want. And he reckoned it was good for the digestive system because it
Who
does.
reckoned? John.
No, John. He hasn't tried it. He's like me. Anyway,
All right.
so that was that was the day. She's busy working away, earning good money so that I could live the life of Reilly in Ireland. All sorted, that was the day. I was going to go golfing at 3:30, she's going to be busy till 9 o'clock and everything's there. I was going to have my golfer's fry and my 4 pints of Guinness or 5 pints of Guinness. Anyway, and then it all went horribly wrong. On that particular day actually, Janice here, she was celebrating her 44th birthday with Robert, right? Now, she was there, so she was 40, yeah, they were going out for the evening meal and going to do all this thing on her 44th birthday. Little did she know that 3 years later, she wouldn't be living in Dumfries. Elaine wouldn't be living in the Wirral. We still had the house in Ireland, but I wasn't living there. And we were all meeting up as friends, wining and dining in County Durham. Anyway, that was, nobody knew that. Anyway, it all went horribly
we
wrong.
used to celebrate my birthday and yours.
And we still do, and we still
Survival day.
My survival day. So we always celebrate her birthday and my celebrating of escaping the heart attack. Anyway, it all went horribly wrong. Now John knows it. Like we'd play the first 4 holes, I think it was, at Cavan, and from the Cavan there to par 3, you climb a hill up to the next tee box. And my nephew or my cousin Brian said, "You feeling all right? You don't look good." I said, "I feel awful." I said, "The trouble is, I've got an ulcer, and I should have eaten before I came out, and I should have had my, I think it was then a Zantac. I should have had my Zantac, and I should have had done this, and I should have had bread and butter. I feel absolutely awful." Played the 5th. John knows what it is. The 6th, I drove out. No, I said, "I'm sorry, lads, I'm going in. I really can't. I'm absolutely awful. Feel awful." They said, "Well, we're going to have a pint of Guinness." I said, "No, because we're playing with a German visitor who's on holiday. No, I'm going to go home. What I need is a slice of bread and butter and a glass of milk. That eases the ulcer.
Yes.
I should have taken my Zantac. I should have had a meal. I should have done this. It's all my fault. No, I'm going to go home." So I walked off the course after 5 holes and 1 drive. And I was going home and I thought, I don't know, this is awful. I drove, not 16 miles, I drove about 4 miles heading for home. And then I decided, I'd been told by the doctor 6 months earlier about these pains in the chest. He said, "If you ever get them again, come straight down to surgery, or if you're out and about and you can't," because on that particular day I'd been driving up to Newcastle, "go to a hospital." And I was driving home and I thought, that nurse told me if I ever get these pains again, I should go to the hospital. Bugger it, I'm going to turn around the road. It was really bad. Drove to the hospital, parked outside where it said accident emergency, outside the door where it said doctors only, don't park, department doctors only. Walked in there, said to the girl, receptionist, "Look, I need to see a doctor, I've got these terrible chest pains." And straight away, got a cubicle, little boy, there, "You go and sit outside with your mammy." You sit on the bed. Within a minute, I had a doctor, I had a nurse, I was squirting things under your tongue and taking blood pressure. I don't know what happened anyway. But they decided I was actually having a heart attack. I hadn't had one, I was having it. And within an hour, they said, "Right," I said, "I need to do this." And I said, "I need to phone my wife." So I phoned my wife. It was then 10 to 7. So I'd been only there for an hour doing all these tests and things. And I said, "I need to go and move the car. It looks like you're going nowhere. You're going straight into intensive care." So anyway, I said, "I need to phone my wife." So I phoned my wife. And what did I get? "Why are you phoning me now? It's 7 o'clock. I told you not to phone me at 7 o'clock. It's manic here. It's manic. There's people coming in 6 o'clock from work. It's manic." And I was busy. "I'm in a hospital. I'm in a hospital. I'm having a heart attack." Having a heart attack. Anyway, it was all garbled. It wasn't making. I started explaining it all about going up and playing golf and do this, and Brian was there and Pat McGoddle was there. Anyway, I was garbled. And I wasn't making all this sense. I wasn't a bad way. I really wasn't a bad way.
Anyway, I spoke to the doctor.
So in the end, the doctor took the phone off me and said, I'll explain it all to your wife because you're not making an awful lot of sense. And he was wheeling me down to intensive care.
Because would you believe the charge people were all on strike? So the
Well, the
doctors were
porters
wheeling us.
were on strike,
intensive care.
so the doctor was pushing me down the corridors, speaking to Elaine, telling her, no, he's in a heart attack, he's doing this intensive care. And a drip thing from on the trolley, whatever it was, anyway, drip for him. That was it. And then when he got to the intensive care, he said, no, I'm sorry, I've had to hang up now because you're not going to have mobile phones in the intensive care unit because it upsets the... whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that was it. So within an hour of getting Cavan Hospital, I was in intensive care. And then I had to phone Elaine. She had to then organise to get over to Ireland. Now, she can't leave the polling station because it would mean that all the votes cast at that polling station would have been null and void because there's nobody in charge to make that the rules work for them. So she had to phone somebody, get over here, take my place. She's got to phone, get a ferry, get this there, get on the ferry, and wouldn't get there anyway. She got to my bedside at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, visiting hours anytime. In intensive care.
Can I just interrupt you one thing? I managed to get in touch with the borough solicitor, and he organised for somebody to let me go. So I got home, and I met my other neighbour just across the way, and he was saying to me, "Oh, you know, I've got something to tell you," and I went, "Oh, I've got something to tell you. I need to book a ferry, and I need to get over to Ireland. Sid's in hospital. He's had a heart attack." And he went, "Well, I need to tell you that Peggy, his wife, died today." So I couldn't believe it. His wife died and he'd had a heart attack. And, you know, it was really just, it was awful.
So that was the night. Anyway, she had to travel overnight, 3 o'clock ferry or whatever it is. She got to my bedside at 8 o'clock, not knowing whether she'd get there, in time or not. So she was thinking, I could be a widow at the age of 48. She could be. Anyway, she
be drinking champagne.
was probably thinking, well, I'm looking forward to a second marriage. She got there anyway at 8 o'clock in the morning and straight into visiting hours any time except between 12 and 2 when everybody, the curtains were drawn, phones off the hook because everybody went to sleep. I don't know why, but when you've had a heart attack, everybody goes like a light. You have to sleep like hell. Every lunch for a year later, I was going to sleeping at every lunchtime. So anyway, she thought she might be a widow at 48. Anyway, I decided then, 68, I reckon I'll be dead by 70. Because I thought then I won't be lucky next time. I'll be out in the, I won't be playing golf next door to a hospital. I'll be out in the woods, so I'll be dead by 70. And then I went to a course of, I was in the hospital about 2 weeks altogether, intensive care for about a week and then a week and a more. Anyway, went to all these remedial classes with Nurse Bernadette. And she told you how to avoid a second heart attack and all the things you had to do and couldn't do and shouldn't do. And anyway, things like give up smoking. Well, I wasn't smoking there anyway. But give up smoking, reduce the Guinness. Now, John knows how difficult that is because he knows what a pint of Guinness like in Ireland is. It's good. It's difficult to give it up. Cut down your cholesterol. Cut down your blood pressure. You cut down. Don't get excited. Don't get angry. Don't get pissed. Calm down. Everything must be calm because your heart goes boom, boom, boom. You know, calm down. Showed me how to relax the body. It was like meditation. How to de-stress your body and relax your muscles.
What was your sexual...
Oh no, I'm coming. She's doing it again. One more strike and you're out. Anyway, so other things, and cut down your stress, anger. If you feel getting angry, calm down, relax your muscles. You show me how to do it. Meditation, dietitian. Cut down on the Guinness. John, that's difficult, John, isn't it? It's a good drink over there. Anyway, cut down your cholesterol. Cut out your golfer's fries, all the grease and fat. Get rid of all of that. Mediterranean things, low cholesterol, low fat milk, low fat yogurts, low fat cheese, low fat everything. So everything was low fat everything. And lots of veg and calm. So that was going to be like, and I thought, and the other
Does
thing was...
anybody want a drink while you're waiting?
No, don't say it's going to last, it won't last much. We've got plenty of time, got another 20 minutes yet. I told them I'd leave me 7:30, I said the speech could go on a long time. Anyway, so low fat diet, low fat, keep your cholesterol down, keep your anger down, keep your stress down, keep everything there. And then one of the people on the classes mentioned. You went.
Yeah, we're
One
fine.
of the
Keep
classes,
going, keep
one
going.
of the classes mentioned sex, and somebody asked it back.
All right.
Excuse me, Bernadette. Well, how about sex? It wasn't suggesting it to her, but how about it? And anyway, when this poor old soul who was very embarrassed about the whole thing. Well, I suppose the blood rushes down to reach other places, pumps around your body to reach places that other activities can't reach. And we do this, and if we do this, and we do that. And anyway, what she said was, and it's in the book as well, I've still got the book. It said that it is recommended you mustn't have too much excitement. And therefore sex with your usual partner was allowed and permitted and recommended. You know, because that wasn't very exciting. So, that was a surprise. That was a surprise to Elena, because up to then we thought it was very exciting. Anyway, so low excitement sex. I thought, well, if I stick to all the things that Bernadette told me, low fat diet, low excitement sex, none of this, cut out the golfer's fries, cut out the grease and the fat, I could live another 5 years, which would take me to 73. So anyway, that was the life. So we talked about it, decided straight away, I'm going to die in 2 years. If I follow Bernadette's things, I'm going to die within 5 years. So what are we going to do? Why are we living in Ireland? My family's living in Sacriston. Her family's living in South Shields. So why are we settling in Ireland? And I said, if anything happened to me, which was going to be happening, it was going to happen within 5 years if I followed Bernadette's rules and kept the low excitement sex and the low fat diet. She said, well, if anything happened to you, I would go and move back to England. I said, well, in that case, no point settling in Ireland. So why don't we go and settle?
Yeah.
Not in Wirral, which she was still working.
Yeah.
They were good enough to give her about 3 months off to look after me in Ireland. I thought,
Right.
what's the point of her working in Ireland? She's got a job in England.
Yeah.
Why am I? No, let's settle.
And then I commuted.
And she commuted from rural, John knows about rural Ireland, up to Dublin Airport, got a flight to Liverpool, it was only 45 minutes, and then went to work and came back on a Friday night to look after me. So let's go and settle, not in the Wirral, let's settle in the northeast. And 18 months later, after this heart attack, it was in 2002,
Right.
we had a house in Sacriston.
That's right.
And that is why you're all here tonight.
Yeah.
Because we would never have said, we would have been celebrating my 90th birthday with Sean and Paddy and Seamus and Bernadette and Siobhan and Siobhan. So none of you would have been here if that hadn't happened. That's how we came. So we came back here, bought the house in Sacriston, moved here in Sacriston in 2002, joined Beamish, joined the seniors, made some lovely people, made some great friends, and that's why you're all here tonight. So that's all I can now
That's a
say
lovely story.
is thank you all
Yes.
for being here tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for your greetings, thank you for your good wishes, thank you for your cards, thank you for your company, and thank you above all, thank you for being our friends.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it, thank you all.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank you for the hard
Said you should write a book. That sounds very much like Catherine Cookson. Catherine Cookson.
no, I made that all by myself.
Yeah, but you should write a book.
Does she
about
write?
it.
Oh no, I'm not.